Dreaming of buying your first car or a new home? Knowing your FICO score is the first step in making it real. With MyFICO, you can check your score for free and it won't hurt your credit. You'll get your FICO score, full credit reports, and real-time alerts all in one simple app. Your credit score is more than just numbers. It's the key to building the future you've been working toward. Visit myfico.com/free or download the MyFICO app and take the mystery out of your FICO score.
This is Mike Boileau of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield. Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.
Welcome to CJ Moneyway Media, a storytelling platform built brick by brick, where conversations become lessons and experiences become perspective. This is the mindset of a panther, moving with patience, discipline, and purpose. From podcasts to books to media storytelling, CJ Moneyway brings voices, journeys, and real conversations to the forefront. You're now listening to the CJ Moneyway Show.
How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing really good. Thanks so much, CJ.
Thank you for coming on, man. So, Paul, man, let me ask you, man, finding your genius. What exactly is the Genius Code, and how did you develop it?
The Genius Code is helping an individual to achieve their highest fulfillment. So how I developed it over the years was I've tried everything that most people will do. A lot of people talk about finding your life purpose, for example, but all the things that conventional wisdom would say in relation to find your life purpose just didn't give me the answers that I was looking for. So some people will say, well, look, find what your passions are. Find your ikigai is another concept. It's a Japanese concept. People aren't familiar with ikigai. They'll probably remember by all the intersecting circles. And those intersecting circles are trying to determine, okay, so what is it that you love doing? What does the world need? And the intersection of those two is what you're to do in life. What will give you fulfillment? And one that's popped up over the last number of years is to find your why. The premise is, okay, so why do you do what you do? But each one of those elements literally don't give a person the level of fulfillment and purpose of what's aligned to their true unconscious. So the true unconscious, every single individual has an unconscious blueprint that it helps them to achieve success. And if they don't know what that unconscious blueprint is, people go through trial and error in order to find out, okay, so how are they going to become successful? So what the Genius Code is all about is actually unearthing all those unconscious genius elements. And when we bring them all together, now we know what our true life purpose is, what's going to give us fulfillment, what's going to give us our zest for life and our fun and our joy, but also in particular, what's going to give us and reach us the highest level of success that we're here to do.
I like that, man. I like that. That goes beyond find your why, because you're right. That is a big thing in society today, because I hear it all the time on here, because it's like your niche, find your niche. Yeah. Why are you doing, what I'm saying? Why are you doing it in this niche? So yeah, that's a big thing. So I like that, man, the Genius Code. So let me ask you, Paul, man, how do you define purpose in a business context?
Purpose is the intention of what it is that you're here to actually fulfill. So let me put it to you this way. You could set up a business selling widgets. Let's just call it that, okay? But the main mission of that particular business will be around selling widgets, making as much sales as possible, and obviously making as much net profit or earnings as possible. So that's what most people will set up a business for. A purpose-driven business, or a purpose per se, is the intention of the difference that you want to make for the people that you're serving. And that's the difference. So when you bring that intention into a business, now it brings a completely different energy into the business itself. If you follow the most successful individuals in business per se, what you'll find, if you read all their biographies, what you'll find, or even in conversation with them, what you'll find is they never chase the money. If you set up a business purely just to chase the money, make as much profit as possible, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do that, but you won't reach the level of success. What I mean by that is it's a sustainable success. So you have overnight successes whereby they hit on the niche, They make a lot of sales, but it's transient. It falls through very, very quickly. The most successful businesses are the ones that have longevity in them because they're thinking longer term. They're thinking about the customers. They're thinking about what the customers actually need, but it's the intention behind what it is. And that's what absolutely drives the individuals. If you take Steve Jobs, for example, it wasn't necessarily about building an iPad or building a computer. It was more the intention of what he wanted to do for the people and making life easier for the people. That's what his intention was behind the business that he was actually creating. You can take anyone on the Richard Branson, Elon Musk. Even if you look at Elon Musk in the States, you'll see a lot of controversy and a lot of discussion around him. But if you go behind the scenes and into the individual, what you find is the intention of what he has behind every single one of his businesses. And hence the reason why they've been huge successes over the years.
Yeah, that's a good example right there. SpaceX, Tesla, and many more things. So yeah, I know what you're saying on that note. So let me ask you, Paul, man, can you walk us through how someone began uncovering their true calling?
Yeah. So there's 4 elements. As I mentioned earlier on, most people will start off by saying, okay, so why is it that you do what you do? And find your why. But here's the thing. If what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing, and you ask yourself that question, why am I doing what I'm doing? But what you're doing is actually the wrong thing you're supposed to be doing in the first place. But it's going to be the wrong why. On top of that, every single element for your purpose comes from your unconscious. So by you asking that question yourself and saying, okay, why do I do what I do? All you're doing is applying a meaning to what it is that you're doing because you're using your conscious thinking. And Viktor Frankl wrote a book, if members are familiar with it, it's called Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl was one of the survivors from the Holocaust. And he wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. And really what he said was, the meaning you give something is the meaning of what it is that you apply it to. All right. Now, when it comes to your purpose, every single element comes from your unconscious. When people try and find what they're passionate about or what their passions are, again, passions are transient. Hence the reason why you'll find so many people that they get consumed or they have what I call shiny object syndrome. They see something that gets their attention, they go after it, and they pursue that for a while. But then after a period of time, they get bored with it. And they're not getting the same level of enjoyment from what it is that they're doing. So now they go into this kind of trough cycle. So they go through peaks and troughs in relation to when they're doing their passions. So let me break down in order to really find your true unconscious blueprint of what your purpose is. So there's 4 elements. There's, first of all, your genius drivers. So first of all, the reason why I use genius is because if you look at the origin of the word genius, it's the innate ability that we were born with. And every single individual has an innate genius. It's what you're born with. So what we're trying to do is unearth that genius that we're all born with. So your genius drivers is what gives you fulfillment. So they're the things that you will do, the actions that you will take, that actually you get fulfillment from. So that's where you get your joy for life, your zest for life. It's what you are naturally drawn towards. And when you align your life in line with your genius drivers, now you increase your self-worth. And by increasing your self-worth, and even if you look at it from the point of view, if you increase your self-worth, you increase your confidence. If you align your goals and objectives with your genius drivers, now you will succeed those and achieve those goals and objectives far more quicker if they're aligned to your genius drivers. So that's where your genius drivers comes into play. Your genius quest is more from the point of view of every single individual has a mission to play in life. So when we grow up from a very, very young age, we become aware of it from a very, very young age. Now, in all the clients that I've worked with over the years, I found that typically the first age that it really starts to become prevalent is between age 5 and 7. And that quest starts to become alive. Now, I call it a quest because the definition of a quest is a long and arduous journey to find something or to find a solution. Best example I can give for your clients is that if you think of the Wright brothers, so the Wright brothers were the first people to actually build a motor-propelled aircraft. So that's what they did. That quest started off at the age of 10, 11 for them. That's when that started. So quest, now, there's the difference between finding your passions. Passions are something that you enjoy doing, no doubt about it. I enjoy a glass of wine. I enjoy watching Formula One. So there's a lot of things I enjoy doing. They're passions. But if you look at the Wright brothers, they had elements of passion in what they were doing. But it was a really tough, arduous journey for them to actually figure out what is an aircraft going to be. So they had so many failures. They had so many accidents in aircraft that didn't actually work. So everything about fulfilling your quest is not a bed of roses.
Yeah.
So, but people feel or perceive that your purpose is a bed of roses. It's not. Your quest is here to fulfill a mission. So that's when people say, what am I here to do? What's my purpose? They're looking for that question. They're looking for that answer. And that quest is what you are specifically here to do. The next element then is what I call your genius role. Now, again, out of all the clients that I've worked with over the years, I've identified 10 different genius roles. So a genius role is, think of it like an archetype. It's the role that you're unconsciously here and best able to fulfill your purpose or your mission in life. Let's put it this way. So one of the genius roles I come across quite regularly is what I call the parent. And people will understand that the parent role is an awful lot easier because I call it the parent because it's so similar to being a parent. And I have 2 kids. They're adults now at this stage. But think of the parent. So the parent wants to bring people around them. Mm-hmm. They want to form a community. They want to form a social network. They want to have people around them. So they want people coming to the table. Just like at dinner time, they want the kids coming to the table. They want the whole family around the table. Mm-hmm. The parent role wants people around them. So hence the reason why they're best suited to build communities. That's what they're best suited to do. But the shadow side for the parent role is that they put themselves last. They want everybody sitting around the table and they're the last ones to sit down, metaphorically. When it comes to life and a business, they're always the ones to look after themselves less. They will look after everybody else first and they'll put themselves last. And then it becomes a frustration whereby they say, well, why doesn't anybody look after me? Or why doesn't anybody serve me? That's when it comes to a frustration point. But what they ultimately want is they want to bring everybody around the table. And when somebody doesn't come to the table, well, then that's when they get annoyed. So that's just one example of one archetype. So each archetype is best aligned for the mission that you're here to fulfill. And that's how the two of them work on. So now you know what you're to do, but now you know how you're to deliver that purpose as well. The last piece is what I call inspiration, your genius inspiration. So again, I use the word inspiration because if you look at the origin of inspiration, it comes from inspirare, which is the divine breath that's breathed in. So again, if you look at the definition, that's what you'll find. So it's the divine guidance of what it is that you're here to do. So when it comes to what people say your why or the inspiration or the motivation around why it is that you're to do it, that's your genius inspiration. It's not your why because you don't work it out unconsciously. You work it out from your unconscious. And how we work out your unconscious is we look for the evidence in our life because our unconscious is constantly trying to give us those nudges in order for us to fulfill our purpose, because that's what we're here to do. Every single individual has a unique life purpose, and that's what we're here to do.
I like that. And yes, we do all have a purpose in life, man. But the way you breaking it down, I like it, man, because we got to dig deeper inside of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? The quest, the drivers and everything, man. So I'm feeling you, Paul. So let me ask you, man, the business of purpose. How can entrepreneurs build a business around their purpose?
It all starts with the intention. Everything in life starts with your intention. So what I mean by that is once you know what your purpose is, now you create a business that's aligned to that purpose. But so let me put it this way. I'll give you an example of a client. One client that comes to mind straight away. So on the outside world, everything is the same. It's just as much as any other business. All right. But internally within the business, which the outside world doesn't see, and especially from the business owner's perspective, the intention of that business owner feeds every single thing through it within the business itself. That's how you bring your purpose into the business. So you still create a business similar to the way everybody else does. However, the intention brings a much more stronger energy within the business because that's where you're going to get your fulfillment from. It's where you're going to get your joy from. It's aligned to your unconscious. So therefore now you're going to reach a much higher level of success within that business then once it's aligned.
So on top of that, what are some common roadblocks people face when trying to align business with purpose?
They do what everybody else does in terms of they find their passions, they find their why, they complete their ikigai and all that kind of sort of things. And it just doesn't, it's not aligned to their unconscious. And it just doesn't work. So they're applying a why. And I've come across it so many times because clients come to me and they've done all that. They've found their why, they've pursued their passions and so on. And every single time I describe it and say, yeah, but every time they come to me, they say, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, but I'm not getting the same level of enjoyment. Or I'm just doing it because it pays the bills in some respects. But they've lost that zest for life. And the reason being is because it's not aligned to unconsciously who they truly are. When you align everything to your unconscious, so let me break this down a little bit for listeners. Your beliefs create your reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. So you can think as much as you can. You can think positively as much as you can. But if your belief is saying no, you'll never achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Mm-hmm. Everything stems down to your beliefs. Your beliefs are your unconscious. Mm-hmm. So if you work with your unconscious, now you'll achieve the level of success that you want to achieve. Oh. So let me put it this way. You could have a baseball player and he believes that, or he thinks he can, through positive thinking, he say, yeah, I'm going to.
A fresh financial you is closer than you think. With MyFICO, you can get the right score for your credit goal, including your FICO scores used for mortgages, auto loans, and credit cards. MyFICO provides your FICO score straight from the people that created it. And you can compare your FICO scores and credit reports from all 3 bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, side by side. Understanding your credit has never been easier. So use MyFICO to get a clearer picture of your credit in 2026. Visit myfico.com or download the MyFICO app to get started today.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
Baby, my heart is burning, but it don't burn with love. Now everything is turning, I think I've had enough. But I got Zeggerid. I'm gonna stop that heartburn before it starts. I'm gonna roll back to that burning heart.
Zeggerid releases immediately and blocks acid that causes heartburn for 24 hours. Zeggerid, feel the difference. 24-hour relief is possible. 1 pill daily for 14 days may take 1 to 4 days for full effect. Not for immediate relief. Use as directed.
Play the best game. But if the belief, the unconscious belief within that individual player is that he's not a great player, not going to do well, that's exactly what's going to happen. Your beliefs dictate the results that you actually get. So when you're working with your unconscious, now you're reaching the success that you want.
I like that.
This episode is brought to you by CJ Moneyway Media, where podcast ideas become platforms. Through the Moneyway Lab Masterclass, CJ shares real lessons from the lab for creators building their voices brick by brick. From powerful guest conversations to storytelling that inspires growth. CJ Moneyway Media is about one thing, building legacy through stories. Learn more at cjmoneyway.com.
Music style.
So let me ask you, Paul, man, can you share a powerful client transformation story that you've had?
I've had so many. Cheapers. So let me put it this way. So I come across them with basically the full spectrum. So let me explain that. I'd have clients coming to me whereby they're at a crossroads and some of them don't even want to continue on in life. Mm-hmm. They're still hugely successful in terms of monetary. They have the money, they have the cars, they have the houses, they have all of that. But they are just at the crossroads and they're at a point whereby they just want to bluntly check out of life. Mm-hmm. Okay. I get the full spectrum. Once we unearth what they're here to do, as in those individual pieces of their life purpose, the transformation for them is, I'm not saying it's overnight, but it's pretty much overnight for them because now they have, and they know it on a really, really deep level. And most comments that I get back from clients is it resonates with them on a deeper level. Mm. And now they know, okay, so that's exactly what, and when I show them the evidence in their life going back, now they can absolutely, the conscious mind can now see it. And now it becomes more real. And so the transformations from their perspective, because I still get messages, emails, and texts from them all from the point of view of it's not about me, but how much of an impact it's had on their life in relation to from that side. Other people whereby, yeah, their business has been successful or somewhat stagnant or on a plateau. I've so many from accountants, architects, you name it, all different professions, manufacturing. There's so many differences where we've aligned their business to them from an unconscious perspective. Mm-hmm. And what they'll actually say is that everything's an awful lot easier. That's a common thread that I get back. So They're doing things an awful lot easier, are spending less time within the business themselves, but yet their turnover increases. The customers and the clients come to them. They just say, it's like as if people talk about being in flow. They describe it, but they may not necessarily use the word in flow, but they describe it along those lines, whereby everything just seems to work for them, not against them.
We all like that, man, to be working with us and not against us. Let me ask you, Paul, man, your personal mastery and intuition. You're known for using your intuition in business. How do you horn that gift?
The first thing I say to clients, because again, it's one of the things that I do for clients and helping them to develop their intuition, because if you follow your intuition, oh my God, it's so much easier. And that's how we're supposed to operate. The best way is actually through meditation. It's a primary way of actually developing it. So because our mind is talking the whole time, because even when you're quiet, it's still talking, it's still chattering away. So the purpose of meditation is actually to quieten the mind. And when you quieten the mind, now you're allowing your intuition to come forward. So you'll never master, and I never encourage people to try and master meditation. It is improving it constantly. So it is a work in progress, but it's not about mastering meditation. But once you've done meditation for a short while, you'll absolutely see the difference. And then once you start to see the difference, now what I say to you is trust those unusual thoughts that come to your mind. I refer to them as inspired thoughts, and you've got to trust those unusual thoughts that come into your mind. So what I mean by that is that you could be doing an activity and then all of a sudden something completely random pops into your mind. And it might be, you got to send an email or the name of a person pops into your mind because, I haven't been speaking to them for a while. I must give them a call. That's inspired thoughts. That's your intuition. So you got to trust those inspired thoughts and follow through. And that way now you're building and getting to know what's the difference between your conscious thinking and what literally your intuition is trying to guide you to do.
Yeah, because your intuition can take you some places, man. I like that. Got to tap into some things in life. Let me ask you, Paul, man, how does personal mastery impact professional growth?
Everything, because let me put it this way. If you develop as a professional, so let me just say professional. So whether you are a service professional, like to say an accountant, a lawyer, an engineer, any one of those, or you're a professional athlete and you're developing your craft by the way of everything that you'll do from a physical perspective per se. Okay. If you're a lawyer, you'll develop your craft from a point of view of knowing precedents, knowing case law, knowing everything that you do for your clients from that perspective. That's all, I'm going to say external. All right. I was asked this question this morning by a client and they said, how much is actually down to the business systems and how much is down to mindset? And mindset, I'm going to say is 99%. And the reason being, so from a personal mastery perspective, what I mean by that is understanding how you yourself work and how your mind works. And when and I've analyzed this so much over the years and over decades of what actually makes the difference for an individual. And when you master your mindset, you now master your destiny. What happens for an awful lot of people is they're controlled by their emotions. And emotions can be from, for example, it could be fear, anxiety, worry, or what other people think and so on. That's making them small. It's holding them back. So when you're able to master your emotions through your mindset, I'm not talking about positive thinking. Positive thinking, it doesn't work from that perspective. Positive thinking is just trying to think positively, as it says in the same positive thinking. But it doesn't solve the underlying problems. You've got to solve the underlying problems. And that's personal mastery. It's understanding how your brain works and therefore how now you can become the master of your brain as opposed to the brain be the master of you. And that's the difference.
I like that, man. Like Paul giving us some nuggets out here, man. You got to go deeper within yourself. It ain't just about positive thinking. You got to dig deeper. So let me ask you, Paul, man, I only got one more question for you, man. And I got a quick fire round, a game that's been popular with the guest and the audience, man. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You give me the first thing that come to your mind. I had a lady yesterday that got everything right in one swoop, man. It ain't been like that with everybody else, but we'll see what you do, Paul, man. You're a smart guy, so I'm pretty sure you can breeze through this.
Is there a prize at the end of the 5 questions? Is there?
It should be, man. Matter of fact, that's something that I'm going to implement on the CJ Moneyway Show. If you get them all right without stumbling, I'm going to send you something. And so, Paul, let me ask you, man, before I get to since we was talking about, you're talking about mind state, and I kind of like that. 99.9% is the mind. Then you can go back to what you say. You got to meditate. You got to clear your mind. You know what I'm saying? You got to think clearly, because you're right. Everything can come all at once. You're thinking about one thing. Then you said you turn around and do another. Oh, I forgot to text Mother Murphy. I forgot to, you know what I'm saying? You've been trying to do it for 5 days, but now all of a sudden, you know, you start thinking about things. So I'm listening to you, Paul. I'm listening, man. So let me ask you, man. What's the role of mindset in unlocking genius?
What I'm going to say, it's everything. Absolutely everything. If you unlock your mindset and be able to control your mindset, you unlock absolutely everything. So you're here to have the most amazing life. Absolutely. But what people fall down on is that they get controlled by their emotions and the fears and the worries and everything that shows up in their life. They see them as obstacles as opposed to serving you. And everything is, so there's a phrase I use for clients: everything is perfect and nothing is ever missing. So when you see it from that perspective, and even though you come across something and you perceive it as being a hindrance or an obstacle or something that's negative, it's actually not. It's there to serve you. And when you now look for the lesson or the teaching or how it's actually serving you, now you can move forward. So mindset is everything. In my book, mindset is everything.
I like this, man. This sounds biblical. You know what I'm saying? Mindset is everything. Once you find your purpose, you find yourself. I'm liking it. So, Paul, man, you ready for this quick fire round, man?
Yep, work away.
All right, man. So, one book that changed your life.
The first book that comes to mind that changed my life or to start me on this journey was The Power of the Subconscious. It's called The Power of the Subconscious. I think the author off the top of my head is Murphy. Can't remember his first name. So he's a doctor. However, another book that was really, I'm going to say transformational in a different way, was, I always get this as a recommended book. It's one called The Hiding Place by Corey Ten Boom. And for somebody that is open to faith, a higher power, God, you'll actually see God's hand in action by reading the book.
I like that. Hiding place, especially when it has to pertain to the Most High. Let me ask you, Paul, coffee or tea for clarity?
Tea.
Tea. One daily habit that centers you?
Meditation.
Gotta get the mind right. What's the first sign someone is on the wrong path?
They're just not happy. Or, okay, I'm going to extend that a little bit more. That's not a quick fire one. They're on the wrong path. I'll know if somebody's on the wrong path. So even though they may present themselves as being happy and joyful and enjoying their business, enjoying their life and so on, intuitively I'll know that they're on the wrong path. How will they know? It feels like a struggle. It feels like they have to work hard at it as opposed to being in flow.
You know, I kind of think about that question as you said something earlier. You say the people, they got the cars, they got the houses, they got the money, but they just want to give up on life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the fulfillment. It's not the everything that they want in life. So even if you have all these material things and, you know, more money than you can spend, sometimes there's still some things there that's missing. And so as I was listening to you talk about this, you know, sometimes we could be on the right path, but on the wrong path at the same time. So man, that's crazy, man. So let me ask you, Paul, man, last one. What's one business myth you wish people would forget?
Finding your why.
I
would love it. Both from a purpose perspective, but also what people believe is that people buy your why, but they don't. People buy results, they buy the outcome, they don't buy your why. So it's one myth I would love would be removed from the world, to be honest. And this is nothing against the creator of it, absolutely nothing against it. He's doing great work, don't get me wrong, but it's a wrong messaging.
So we ended the way we started it. Finding your why. He say, man, just get rid of that because that's not getting the end results. You know what I'm saying? People not buying your why, they buy the end result. Paul, man, I thank you for coming on, man, connected with us with purpose, with prosperity today, man. Your Genius Code offers a roadmap that so many need right now. Got to look deeper into ourselves, especially those at a crossroads. To our listeners, visit www.BleavNetwork.com davisbusiness.consultants.com to learn more about Paul's coaching, books, and powerful methods. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and build your legacy brick by brick, like your boy CJ Moneyway and my man Paul Davis. Before we leave, Paul, let me ask you, man, where can we find you on social media, man, and where can we go pick up your books from?
The easiest way is actually going to my website, davisbusinessconsultants.com. You'll find me on LinkedIn under Paul Davis Dublin, and that's my short URL. But everything, you'll access the books, you'll access free resources, everything will be on my website, davisbusinessconsultants.com.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Paul. Hey, Paul, man, leave us with a final thought, man. Leave us with a final thought that, you like to lead the audience with.
And if I think
besides my wife.
Okay. I suppose what comes to mind is I'm going to speak directly to particular people out there listening to this. If you're going through a tough time and you have lost all sense of direction, or you feel you're at a crossroads, believe me, every single individual has a life purpose. Every single individual. You're here for something absolutely amazing, something greater. And what your circumstances are right now at the moment, they're transient. They'll pass. So you just get past that and just get on the right road. And the transformation will be absolutely huge. So stay with it. Just keep going.
Keep going. Stay 10 toes down. Go through whatever you got to go through, because there's the rainbow on the other side of that mountain. Hey, this your boy CJ Moneyway and G out of State's Capital with my man Paul Davis. Until next time, we out of here. Peace.
You've been listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. Where real stories, real lessons, and real perspective come together. Remember, move with patience, move with purpose. That is the mindset of a panther. Until next time, keep building your legacy brick by brick by brick by brick.
Music style. Dreaming of buying your first car or a new home? Knowing your FICO score is the first step in making it real. With MyFICO, you can check your score for free and it won't hurt your credit. You'll get your FICO score, full credit reports, and real-time alerts all in one simple app. Your credit score is more than just numbers. It's the key to building the future you've been working toward. Visit myfico.com/free or download the MyFICO app and take the mystery out of your FICO score.
The Fall Line is a true crime podcast covering the coldest cases in the southeastern United States and occasionally beyond. We focus on the missing persons, the unsolved murders, and the unidentified does that don't get media attention. Empathetic and intensively researched, The Fall Line will take you on deep dives into unsolved cases that you've never heard of and make you wonder why you haven't. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.